Hey y'all, how are y'all doing? Glad to see you guys. I don't know where my picture is. Oh, okay. How y'all doing? I'm gonna start out with a song. Let some people come in. Hope everybody's doing good today. Hey, Papa Will. Hey, Arabia. Hey, Cheeky. I'm glad a few people are here. Let me just play the song. Hey, No Limit. How are you? Let me know if you guys can hear the song. I remember back in the day when I was younger, the weekend. I wanted it all to be my way. It was going up on a two. Nah, it was going down on a Friday. I was a kid in school. Wanted to follow the rules. Didn't want to wind up in heat for the weekend. Trying to follow what school could not the fool. See, I wanted shoes, games, and toys galore. Didn't want to hear, don't ask for nothing when you get in the store. Punished by adults on the weekend who like to shop. When I knew that I was like a donut spot, I liked the cop, so I had to stop and think about the things that I would do. It was a lesson learned that stuck to me like it was Elmer's glue. I remember being introduced to report cards, construction paper number 2. Oh, and most importantly, king of the de-stress. Okay, that's good. Elementary school is recess. If I could just get it back, I heard one of the teachers wishing why they would watch us play. They be talking and reminiscing like back in the day. Hey, Queen. Just letting a few people come in. Thank you for joining me. I'm playing Shy Speaks back in the day. Hey, Michael, how are you? Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I couldn't think of a better way. We get to go up on a two boot now. It was going down on a Saturday. I was a tween before I was a teen. It's like I thought it was a dream because we was in a brand new school. I mean world, and every boy went a new I mean girl. Everybody crush and listen. Everybody was. Okay, so I done messed up, but okay, we're gonna get off of that. I'm just glad everybody came in today. This is a touchy subject. And shout out to my girl, Awesome Powers. We definitely gotta talk, okay. Shout out to my girl, Awesome Powers. She's the one that actually gave me the idea about this because I haven't touched on this subject at all, and it is very touchy. And some people might not like to hear about this, but it's real. And it's happening more often than we think. And like I said, shout out to Awesome Powers for giving me this idea. I'm talking about a young lady. She was a young mother, and I just want you to close your eyes and just use your imagination. And I want you to follow me as I'm telling this story. It was a young lady. She was a young mother. She loved her child very, very much. She got into a relationship um, that was sometimes volatile, but because she loved the man and she wanted that man to be in her child's life, she decided to stick it out because she understands that relationships are not perfect and nobody's perfect. So just because sometimes he gets mad at me and he may hit the wall or he may cuss me out, he still loves me. I mean, it's relationships are not perfect. And some things, because I saw my mama do, I have to put up with it because that's just how some men are. So
That's the mindset I can see a young woman sometimes have. And then she says to herself, well, you know, shoot, who gonna want me anyway? I'm a single mother. Nobody gonna really want me like that. And he wants me. So, again, nobody ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. I know I sometimes get on his nerves. So sometimes I deserve it. I mean, I got a fly mouth. So, hey, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. And then one day, a situation happens where this man accuses this young woman of maybe talking to someone else. And he maybe think that, oh, yeah, she's cheating on me. They get into an argument. Words have been said. Voices has been raised. The 2-year-old over there, toddler, he's looking. He's scared. He's crying and screaming because he wants daddy and mommy to stop fussing and fighting. And then one slap leads to a really big physical fight between the two. Can you just imagine that little boy screaming and crying, wanting all of this to stop? The woman don't know what to do. She's running around the apartment trying to get away from him. He goes to the kitchen. He gets a butcher knife. He's like, oh, bitch, you gonna leave me? I'm gonna show you. Goes, get the butcher knife. She's running, trying to protect her son, but she's telling him to get away, go away, go to the closet, just go to the closet. She's trying to find something to protect herself, but it's a little too late. He got her on the ground, won't let her up. She's screaming, crying for help, hoping that some neighbor will call 911. Nobody's hearing her. Praying to God that he would stop. Telling him, no, please, do not do this. We got a son. Don't do this. She's screaming, begging for her life. He gets the knife. He starts pounding the knife in her chest, all over her body, 100 times. As she bleeds to death, gasping for air as blood is coming out of her mouth, out of every inch of her body. She's losing her breath. She's losing herself. She can actually see herself slipping away. The baby's still over there crying. He doesn't know what's going on. He's confused. And as he sees his mom bleeding, all of the blood, his dad throws the knife in the kitchen sink. Come on. He gets the son screaming and crying, gets the son in the car. He goes to the nearest lake. He decides maybe to do something to maybe soften the blow of killing a son and just throwing him. He's just like, well, I can't just throw him in the lake. Maybe I'll choke him. Maybe I'll do something to kill him before he gets there. So when I throw him in the lake, it won't hurt as much. So he finds a way to kill his son. And then he throws his son in the lake. As he throws his son in the lake, it's infested with alligators. And you know what happens after that. The young woman's family is looking for her. They finally get into her apartment because the man cannot be found, her boyfriend. They get into the young woman's apartment. It's trails of blood everywhere. It's trails of blood on every inch of the floor. It's blood handprints on the wall. All they can see is blood. They go into tears. They call 911. Now they're frantic because they're like, now where is the child? A couple of days later, as the police are looking, they found the remains of the child in an alligator. His own flesh and blood, he thrown to the lake, infested with alligators. If this is not scary to some people today, I don't know what to tell you. It's becoming so scary. You really have to get to know people before you even sleep with people in this day and time. Before you engage in conversation, before you do anything with people now. People are on some demon time. And to think that this man will look at his child and throw him in the lake like trash. And not only that, to kill someone that he said he loved, that he shared a child with, as if she was a piece of trash. It goes to show you the psyche of people in this world. Some people are really disturbed to the point to where I don't know if God could help them. Some people are so far gone, they can't even see or have any goodness in their lives or in their hearts. I'm going to share a news clip with you about this particular story. And I want you to look at this. And I'm thinking maybe this young lady was raised by a single mother, and she maybe saw her mother endure domestic violence. Or she could have had sisters, she could have had aunties, or a grandmother to endure domestic violence. Sometimes we go and do things because of learned behavior, because of what we seen mama, daddy, grandma, cousins, auntie do, uncles, everybody in our family do. And those things are called generational curses. So I'm going to share this news clip with you. And thank you guys for coming. Hey, A Powers, D Truth, Realist, my girl Chicky. Let's see who else is in here. Larry, Michael. Let's see, No Limit, my boy. Let's see, Queen in Arabia and Papa Will. Thank you guys for joining me if you're still in the chat. And hello to those who will be coming in. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Hey, Tina Marie. I hope that you, I can be a little dramatic. So I'm going to share this news clip with you because I really thought that this was a very sad story. And like I said, A Powers gave me the idea to share this. And I would love to share it with you guys.
Ended in tragedy yesterday when the toddler was found dead in the jaws of an alligator.
We've learned new details tonight about the case involving Thomas Mosley, Taylon's father, who is accused of killing Taylon and his mother, Passion Jeffrey. 8 on your sides, Trevor Sahaki is live in the newsroom tonight with the latest. Trevor?
Jack, Allison, Thomas Mosley is now in jail after he was charged with both mother and son's deaths. He made his first appearance in court this morning, where he pled not guilty. And today we learned Passion had more than 100 stab wounds when she was found. According to the arrest affidavit of Thomas Mosley, he and his family were celebrating his 21st birthday at Passion Jeffrey's apartment on Wednesday. Later that night, after the party ended, Mosley went to his mother's house with severe cuts on his arms that police say are caused by slippage during a knife attack.
There's my condolences going out to the family and to his loved ones. We are sorry that it had to end this way.
The next day, when the victim's family came to check on Passion, they saw a trail of blood out of the apartment. Passion was inside with more than 100 stab wounds. A bloody fingerprint on a cleaning bottle was linked to Mosley.
She's very outspoken, always make you laugh.
Smile all the
always
time.
Always joking.
According to police, Mosley threw or placed Talon into Lake McGorry, causing him to die. Police did not specify how Talon died.
We just want to say that Talon is a beautiful little boy, and he's really loving and caring.
St. Pete Police Chief Anthony Holloway said detectives saw an alligator with an object in his mouth yesterday at Del Holmes Park. That's across town from the apartment where Jeffrey was stabbed to death.
They fired one round to the alligator. The alligator dropped the object that he had in his mouth, and we were able to retrieve Talon's body intact.
Mosley is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for both Talon and Passion's deaths. He's being held without bond at the jail and was also ordered not to have any contact with the family of Talon or his mother. Police also said there was an indication of mental health issues with Thomas Mosley. He still has bandages on his arms and hands while in jail. Live in the newsroom, Trevor Sahaki, 8 on your side.
Trevor, thank you. The victim's family sent out a letter this evening thanking people around the state and the nation for their support. They say in part, quote, as we grieved Passion and searched for Talon, we especially send our gratitude to St. Petersburg police and all law enforcement working day and night in the search for Talon and the concerned citizens who shared helpful information. We are heartbroken that we must begin putting them both to rest. In that same statement, they also say they are accepting donations to use for funeral services and to support the family at this time. We have that link for you at WFLA.com.
Whether or not this...
Wow. You know, hey, CC, this is really sad. This is, and you know, like I said, this just goes to show you how people's love has grown cold. To see your child and want to do something to your child, or to see someone that you love and you shared of life with, or a child with, and to do something like this, it's really heartbreaking. But it just goes to show you what type of world we live. And the world is not bad, but the people sometimes in the world a lot of times can be bad. And this is something that is generational for some people. The young man, hey Gartrell, the young man that did do these crimes, he probably had some trauma in his life. Maybe he was beaten by his father, or if he had a lack of father, he probably was maybe angry with the world, angry with God, angry with himself, angry with everybody around him. We're raising a lot of angry young men and young women in this day and time. And it's all because of what has happened back in the day. And that's basically what that is. It's back when your mama and your daddy got together. They had a dysfunctional relationship. Then your grandparents had a dysfunctional relationship. Then your great-grandparents had a dysfunctional relationship. This is a generational thing. And something like I would say a generational curse had to be upon both of these individuals in order to attract each other. Because remember, we sometimes, not all, attract like individuals that are like us, that have similar backgrounds, sometimes have similar things familiar with each other, whether we are aware of it or not. And this is what happens. And sometimes, like I said, I'm not against, being spanked, but we have to remember in slavery time, when our ancestors were going through slavery, they were whipped, they were beaten with whips that went all the way into their skin. And then those slaves took that same behavior and did it to their children. And then their children did it to their children. Hey, worldwide. So there's nothing against, I would say, a little, spanking or tapping, because some children, they need to know you doing too much, okay? Go sit down. But when you are doing things like stitching cords and just finding any type of objects, sometimes we create angry, mean people because of how we discipline our children. And sometimes it's because of what we have experienced. We had a bad day at work. We go into the world with all types of things we have to face. And especially if you're a single mother or a single father and you're trying to raise your children the best way you've been taught. But sometimes what we've been taught is not always the best way. And I think beating children with stitching cords and shoes and all this kind of stuff, that is extreme. And that can sometimes make children angry and mean. And then they transfer it to their children. And there you go. There's some more problems. And it goes on until you're able and you're knowledgeable of what you are doing. Right? So, and I'm just talking about a generational thing. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we don't know what this girl, we don't know what this man, or this male, because he wasn't a man, this male, what he went through in his childhood. Why did he feel like, and I'm pretty sure he has been abusing her or been putting his hands on her, or they probably been putting their hands on each other, because let's not forget, men can also be abused as well by women. It doesn't just happen to women. There are men that are being abused by their wives, by their girlfriends. And it's a stigma with men because men are supposed to be strong. They're not supposed to go to the police. They're not supposed to, go to counseling or anything for nothing like this. I mean, what? Your woman beat you? You a punk, but that's the stigma that, it's on men when men are abused. And that's why sometimes some men stick it out, because they may have children with that individual and they don't want to leave their children in that household, with that one parent, because they probably know that it might get worse for the children if he leaves. And then some men are, I'm not going to say that, but some men, when it's good, it's good. So when they're in the relationship, they're going through the honeymoon stage. Okay. So it's all good. We going through the honeymoon stage. So yeah, she may be crazy. We may fight a little bit, but we good right now. Right. And then it's calm. So I ain't gotta, we good. We trying to raise our children. We working on our marriage or our relationship. Then something happens. There starts some tension in the relationship. Somebody, you might not be getting more hours on the job. She complaining. Y'all are arguing with each other. Then we get into an argument. Then hands start going. And I'm gonna start and I'm gonna pop you and you, cause now I know, cause you ain't gonna hit me back, cause I'm a woman and you love me, and if I call the police is gonna take you, not me, right? And here we go. This man, he's thinking about it, especially if he's a black man, but a man in general. They're gonna take you to jail, brother. So let me just calm down. Let her calm down. It's gonna be all right. I gotta be there for my children. Relationships not perfect, and if I have to, I might meet somebody else just as crazy as she is, so I might as well just stick it out. And women do the same thing. like I said, people that are in domestic violence relationships, they think about leaving probably 7 times or more before they actually leave. And sometimes it results into death. This young lady didn't have a chance. I mean, maybe she did a few days ago before all this happened. Maybe she could have left then. But who's to say that this man wouldn't have found her and killed her just like he did? I mean, these type of situations, it's kind of like it's really hard because even if you leave, that person can still find you. All right. So we have to, as individuals, deal with the trauma that we've dealt with from our parents and our grandparents. And as we deal with those issues, we learn to pick people a little bit better than maybe we used to, or maybe better than our mother or our father did. And we're able to have partners that we can actually have a healthy relationship with. Hey, Omega. Hey, the word. And, and so I had a story. It's actually a real story. Because, I can make up a story in a minute. It was a lady, she was really close with my family, and we were close with her family. And her baby sister, who she was really close to, her sister, her baby sister, and they did everything together. But one thing they disagreed with was the man that she ended up dating and ended up marrying. This man, he was a charmer. I mean, he charmed that sister, and everybody could see through it. Everybody could see that he was controlling. Everybody could see that he had a temper. But she loved him. She ended up having, I think, 3 kids with him, 2 boys and 1 girl. And, every now and then she would come, try to, cover up the black eye or the busted lip. And the sister was like, I can't believe you putting up with this. They had a big argument. They fell out. They didn't talk for a minute. When they would have family gatherings, she would briefly say hello to her sister, but, she just didn't want to be involved with it because she was so mad at her sister for keep putting up with this stuff. And the family kept telling her, you need to leave this man. Well, he did kind of the same thing with what happened to this young lady. He stabbed her to death. From what I can remember, he stabbed her to death. And then I believe it was on the news. It was several years. I was like a kid when this happened. So it was actually on the news. And he stabbed her to death and left those children here. And now he's in prison. But I'm telling you this story because it happens to people that some people we don't even know, but some people we do know. And it affects a lot of people. Now, from my understanding, her childhood was pretty decent. The mother and father were both at home, but just like anybody else, they had issues, but not to the extent, I believe, where her father was abusive to her mother in that capacity. Maybe in other ways, but not in that capacity. But she ended up attracting this man that eventually took her life. And I think about her kids to this day. And actually, I'm going to ask her, how are those children? Because now they're grown, because we're probably around the same age. I wanted to ask her, how are they doing? Because I hadn't seen her in a while. And I'm pretty sure they have struggled. I don't know if I can't remember if they were there when they saw their mother getting stabbed. I can't remember. I think one of them was, but I'm not for sure. So I don't want to misquote anything but it was amazing how so many people told her in her family, you know, to leave, but she just couldn't. And sometimes when you have strongholds, when you're dealing with people, in your relationships, you have those strongholds. It's hard to leave a relationship, even when a person is beating your butt. You got a black eye, you got a busted lip. I mean, it's just the torture of someone doing that, and then you just acting like, well, I guess you would have to have low self-esteem. You would have to think that this is normal for you to put up with something like this, right? But when we do that, we're affecting our kids even more. And I think a lot of people, when they don't leave those type of relationships, I really believe that's fear. The fear of the unknown. Like, if I do leave, what am I going to do? Because some women that are in abusive relationships, some of them don't work. They're a stay-at-home mom. So they don't have any extra income, and their husband is the sole provider. Then, some women do work, and they still put up with it. But it has to be something on the inside of you to make you feel like that's okay, to make you feel like I deserve this. And that goes for a man as well. Now, they do have, I know in Dallas and Fort Worth, they have different shelters that men and women can go to escape their abuser. But like I said, most men will kind of stick it out. Even some women, of course, but men, like I said, they'll try to stick it out. Maybe they'll just leave. But I don't know if y'all remember the story last week. It was a black guy and his wife. They were fighting online, and it was on Facebook Live, actually. And you had her mother in the background. I guess they were getting on to the husband. He was trying to leave the woman, and they had 4 kids. Well, she ended up shooting him, I think, in the back of the head. And he was, like I said, he didn't have any weapon. I think maybe at one while he probably tried to get the gun, because there was some scuffling, because the phone dropped and it went completely black, but you could still, I guess, hear the commotion in the background. And she had already said that in some ways, I think she was going to kill him. And then when she shot him in the back of the head, then she started screaming, oh, I can't believe this. I can't, and all this. He's dead. I can't believe this. And then you got the kids looking right at the situation. The kids are seeing their father drop on the ground, bleeding in the back of his head. It's something wrong, y'all, with these people out here. I'm telling you, you got to be careful. And I'm talking to me when I say this. You got to be careful the people you sleep with. I mean, at the bottom line is, everybody has been raised different. So you need to get to know people before you start sleeping with folks, because a lot of people have some unresolved issues, and those unresolved issues are so deep to where they are just a mess, and it results in things like this. It results in things like this. And it's like, people, they see their children there, they will kill that partner right in front of their children. And their children sitting there screaming, standing there screaming, scared, don't know what to do. And this person could give a damn. I'm going to kill you because you pissed me off and you deserve it. While their child that they brought in the world is screaming and scared and don't know what to do. Something is wrong, y'all. This is not normal. This is not normal out here. And that's why I said you're going to have to be very careful about who you deal with. not only friendship wise, but romantically. And if you see any signs of a person being over controlling or very abusive in their speech, because there's more than physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's verbal abuse, and sometimes emotional, um, verbal, mental, that's probably even worse. I'm not, physical is bad. It's really bad. Don't get me wrong. But that emotional, talking down to you, trying to be manipulating to you to make you feel like you deserve this, and all of this is your fault, and verbally being abusive, calling you out of your name repetitively, and making you feel like you a piece of trash, that goes even deeper than physical. Wounds heal physically, but that inner stuff, that takes a while to heal. That's not something that can be healed overnight or in a couple of days. That's going to take some time. And sometimes it takes people years and years. Do you know people that have been verbally and emotionally abused and mentally abused, they can still hear their abuser every day in their head? Every day. They can still hear, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm nothing, I'm a piece of shit. They can hear all of that in their head over and over again. That is the worst abuse, when you can't get it out of your head and it's like you can't let it go. That is the worst. And really, some of the abuse comes from my parents. Let me tell you why. Like I told you about the stenching cord. I ain't never been beat by no stenching cord, thank God, or shoe, or nothing like that. I wasn't abused physically. But some children are abused verbally. What does that create when a child is verbally abused or emotionally abused? That creates very insecure, angry children. That creates so much insecurity in a person. It takes years and years for them to figure out and to accept who they really are, because they hear their mother saying, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid, you're good for nothing, you're a piece of shit. You just like your daddy. You just like your mama. This is what a child hears. When they grow up, they are very insecure, and they are very hurt people, and they hurt other people. They do the exact same thing to their children. They do the exact same thing to the cashier behind the cash register. They are miserable everywhere they go. They create misery because they are so miserable on the inside. And it all stems to emotional, verbal abuse that sometimes has happened when they were children. Verbal abuse and emotional abuse, mental abuse, it's the worst. It takes years. Or physically, if someone busts you in your lip or dot your eye, that can heal over a few weeks or a month. But those words that's spoken to your soul, that takes years. And some people never get over it. That's why you see so many people have nervous breakdowns. So many people end up having bipolar, chemical imbalance in their brains, because they have been affected as a child in their early childhood. And when you are affected mentally in your early childhood, I believe it affects your chemistry in your brain. And that's where you have the bipolar. That's where you have the schizophrenia and the depression. That's where all it comes from. Hearing in the back of your head what your mama, what your granny, what your grandfather, what your daddy said. And you become a very insecure, mean, spiteful adult. That's what happens. I haven't been living a long time, but I see things, I see a pattern in some people I know. Even in my life and other people's lives, you can see some things and you're like, well, where does that come from? It stems from childhood. That's why I say a lot of this is generational. It's generational. And when people don't check that, they pass it on down to their children. And their children pass it on down to theirs. And here we go with a cycle, dysfunction after dysfunction after dysfunction after dysfunction. It just keeps going. And people keep getting worse. Nobody gets help. Nobody gets checked. We all crazy. We all crazy. But it takes an individual that's not scared, that's going to step out and say, you know what? This behavior is not okay. This behavior is causing more pain in my life and other people's lives. I got to find a way to get out of this generational curse. I got to figure a way to make some better decisions. I got to figure a way where I don't keep hurting people because I'm hurt. Like I said, people can talk about counseling all they want to, but for some people, it has been their savior. Everybody can't just get over it. For some people, it takes time. It takes someone that is educated enough and objective enough to listen to you, to help you find a way or maneuver a way out of your rut, out of your situation. So, you know, hey, Meal Ticket, I didn't even see you come in. I'm just talking. Hi, Justice, how are you? So I hope I didn't talk too much, but I hope you guys understand where I'm going with this. Nefi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it Nefia, but I'm sorry for butchering your name, but I'm glad you're here. Hey, Sad and Blue, and Loving Me, Tracy, how are you doing? I'm so glad you guys are here. Justinice, how are you? I'm so happy. That's my buddy. So I hope that you understand, because I can really get okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna call you. What can I just tell me? What can I call you? Because I don't want to butcher your name. So like I said, this is what I'm talking about, and I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. And I am going to have an open panel because anybody that wants to come up, that wants to share anything. But I just kept talking. Hey, Arabia, I just kept talking and I didn't even pay attention to the chat. I was into what I was saying because, like I said, this is really something people need to be patient. Neffy, thank you. Thank you, Neffy. This is something that we need to pay attention to as adults, and not keep going into the same direction and are causing our children to suffer for what we've been through. Okay, the word said it does take time. It takes desire. Change comes from within. No matter how much you want something for someone, they have to want it for them, want it too. Going through this now with a couple family members. Correct. Let's see what the real estate. I was just telling Word last night how this dude I knew years ago came to me and asked me to help get rid of his girl. My goodness. That's what I'm saying. These people are crazy. Yo is Mike. These people are crazy. I just shared your life. Thank you. And I didn't do it, but also we were talking about the generational curses, but with the domestic violence. But I'm gonna share a story and shout out to CEO for sending me this wonderful story. And it's not wonderful in the sense of what happened. It's wonderful to show that generational curses are real, and how if you don't have the proper, I would say, guidance in your life, you can end up really messing up your life. And I don't know the story of the father, but when you see this story, it's going to really trip you out. And some of you probably have already known about this. And I think this happened in 2012 with this young man who's a football player. And I'm going to share this with you guys. I thought this was pretty interesting.
Small Ohio town that made national headlines here. 2 high school football players convicted of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl 2 years ago. Well, one of those players has served his time, and he's now back on the football field. And ABC's Alex Perez with the story this morning.
This morning, 18-year-old Malik Richmond is back on the Steubenville High School football team after a rape conviction that ignited a national firestorm. His probation officer defending the school's decision, allowing him back on the roster.
I think the boy should be allowed to play. Malik Richmond has done everything that's been asked of him.
A judge found Richmond and fellow student Trent Mays guilty last year of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl after a night of alcohol and partying in August of 2012.
Shame on you!
The case sparked outrage on social media after this picture went viral. Mays and Richmond carrying the 16-year-old girl, who appears to be unconscious, by her hands and feet. This YouTube video showing another student who wasn't involved laughing about the incident.
She is so right now.
Moments after his conviction, Richmond turned to the family of the victim and begged for forgiveness.
I'm sorry to put you guys through this. That's just like...
In an interview for 2020, before the trial, Richmond told ABC's Elizabeth Vargas he didn't think it was rape.
I didn't rape anybody. I didn't witness a rape going on. And if I would have thought that somebody was being raped or anything like that, I would have stopped it.
Richmond, sentenced to a year at a juvenile detention center, served nearly 10 months and was released in January.
And the Ohio High School Athletic Association says this is a local school decision. We did reach out to Steubenville High School for comment, but our calls were not returned. Now, under the terms of his release, Richmond must register as a sex offender every 6 months for the next 20 years. Robin?
All right, Alex, thank you.
Okay, and then I'm going to share another one I thought was pretty interesting. This is the young man's father, and I'm going to let you hear what he has to say. Let me share this one. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get back to... I want you to hear what the father has to say.
Trusting God, that God's going to see him through this. I told him that I love him, basically, and to be strong.
We heard Walter Madison, the attorney for your son, say that he heard you whisper, "I love you," and he doesn't believe Malik had heard that from you before. Is that the case? Is today the first day you told him that?
Basically, because I haven't been around in Malik's life like I should have been at those early years. And I want to stress that parents need to get involved more in their kids' lives. And like someone mentioned, be a parent and not a friend. And teach your kids what alcohol and drugs can do to destroy their lives. And teach your kids how to make decisions and to combat peer pressure. Malik got caught up in what you would call a love triangle and a lot of peer pressure. I still believe in Malik innocent.
Okay, so you hear the father right there. That's Malik's father. He's there for his son. Let me share what happened, what decision that the father made. And I want to share that with you.
We continue to follow developing news out of Eastern Ohio tonight. Gunfire on the streets of Steubenville. The man accused of shooting a judge outside the Jefferson County Courthouse has now been identified. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Colleen Marshall.
And I'm Mike Jackson. The suspected gunman is the father of former Steubenville High School football player who was convicted of rape back in 2012.
NBC4's Ellie Merritt is joining us now from the newsroom, the Watch 4 Alert Desk, with more on what happened and how that judge is doing tonight. Ellie?
Well, investigators in Eastern Ohio have identified that gunman tonight as Nathaniel Richmond. His name may sound familiar. He is the father of Malik Richmond, the former Steubenville football player convicted in the rape of a teenage girl 5 years ago. Sheriff's deputies say that the gunman targeted the Jefferson County judge as he was walking from his car into the courthouse this morning, shortly after 8 o'clock. A probation officer was the one who returned fire against Richmond, killing the armed suspect in downtown Steubenville. Tonight, investigators are still puzzled as to why Judge Joseph Braziz Jr. was targeted. He was not the judge who ruled in the case involving the suspect's son back in 2012. A special prosecutor and a visiting judge were brought in for that case.
But that's a clear indication. They laid in wait to the judge so they can ambush him. Thank God that he's not that good a shot.
And right now, police are questioning a second person who was in the same car as the suspected gunman, hoping to learn more about a possible motive in today's ambush-style shooting. Meanwhile, Judge Braziz is recovering at a Pittsburgh area hospital tonight. He is expected to be okay. Live at the Watch 4 Alert Desk tonight, Ellie Merritt, NBC4.
Thank you, Ellie.
You guys see how generational curses, how they occur, what happens? You have a young man that made a really bad decision by having sex with a 16-year-old girl. He was a young man, so sometimes young men, of course, make stupid decisions. But did you see what the father did? He lost his life for making a stupid decision. Some things that we do is because I'm telling you of what our father, our mother, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, some of the decisions, they might not be the exact same thing, but sometimes they are. They trickle down to you. I want you guys to close your eyes if you can. Just imagine when you were growing up as a young, I would say maybe 8 years old, 7, 8. You're probably 7, 8, you're probably in the first grade, first or second grade. You see your parents fussing and fighting. You don't know how to deal with that. So you go hide. Maybe you go in your room, close the door. Or maybe you go outside and act like nothing's happening. You see your father coming in sometimes late at night, drunk. Your mom's mad. They start fighting. They start passing hits. You're seeing all of this. Now you're first, second grade, so you're trying to be a big boy, a big girl. You don't want to cry. You don't want to act like you're affected, but you see this. Then you become a teenager. They still doing the same thing, but then somebody decides to leave. Your father decides, I want to get out of here. They end up getting a divorce. So then you have to deal with that. You have a single parent living at home with your mom. She's mad because she got to work 2 jobs. She getting on to you because she's just mad at the world. You go through high school, and then you become an adult. And you're trying to figure out as an adult how to handle everything you saw as a child. You remembered your grandfather was a drunk. Your father was a drunk. Your mama always angry. Her mama was always angry. And you just trying to figure out how the hell did I get here and why am I here? I mean, you know how you got here, but you're trying to figure out, what do I do? Do I take on some of this same behavior that I'm seeing? I mean, this is all I know. I don't know how to be no other way but what I saw. And then you start having kids of your own. You get in these relationships, either you married or you cohabitate with somebody. You start having kids and you just don't know what to do. You just going by what you dealt with. And then your kids are actually seeing the same thing that you had to deal with. And they come from broken homes. So then you got some people coming from, having parents that's been divorced. Or some parents have never been married at all. They just had kids. And you just trying to figure it all out. But a lot of that stuff that you learned as you grew up and you saw your parents and your grandparents, and sometimes your great-grandparents deal with and do, you took on that same behavior, not realizing it. You just trying to figure it all out, just like everybody else. And you get stuck. And when you get stuck, sometimes it's hard for you to get out of that rut. But you have to be willing. You have to seek change. You have to want a better way to get out of it so that you don't create more damage to your children, and your children won't create more damage for their children, which would be your grandchildren. I mean, life is really a funny thing. It doesn't come with an instruction manual, I can tell you that. Hey, Ra. It does not come with an instruction manual. Some things in life we just got to figure out. But when we can't figure it out, we got to go ask somebody that can really help us. I seen some things in my life just as growing up that I knew was dysfunctional. I'm like, nah, this ain't normal. I mean, I don't know what normal is, but I know this ain't normal. And when I started kind of researching and looking at other people's lives and their upbringing, and I started looking at mine, comparing, and I was like, yeah, this doesn't seem right. What did I take on from my dad or my mother that I shouldn't have taken? A lot of people don't believe this, but I have a really bad temper. And those like my friends that really know me, they know I got a bad temper. I've came a long way. And my family knows. That's why I'm saying these YouTube people don't really know me like that. It's nothing but the grace of God that I'm here today. And I'm not in a straitjacket or in prison. I had a really bad temper because I got it from my dad. My dad could be very volatile. So much to where it would scare you. And I had that same anger deep within me. And it would only come out when I was really angry, when I was mad. And really, to be honest with you, sometimes it didn't take a lot for me to go there. I could go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. So just imagine me, my little self being like that. And that was just maybe 5 years ago. But I knew that that behavior would not help me. And that same behavior my dad had, it didn't help him either. Actually, he ended up getting sick. He ended up having a stroke. And he had a number of strokes within a few years because of his temper. And I knew and also he, when he died, even though he died with his family around him, which would be, me and my sisters, I wasn't there because he was in hospice and it was around the COVID, but my other sisters were there. He died basically alone because his temper was so bad, couldn't no woman deal with him long enough, to be honest with you. He had a really bad temper. That stopped him from having healthy relationships. And when I saw that, what it did to him, it even had me to question myself. Who am I hurting or who am I destroying because of my temper? And I had to deal with it. And that's why I went to counseling, because I know that this is not healthy. This is not normal. But then I asked the question, well, where did my dad get that temper? He got it from his daddy. So this thing is something that is real, that people don't look at. Generational curses are real. And it may not be so much of a curse like, a witch putting a curse on you, nothing like that. But it is some kind of bad entity within your family that sometimes transfers from generation to generation. It could be behavior. It could be a mindset. That's what, a generational curse could be. A mindset, behavior, even it could be health-wise. Do you know some people in families have diabetes? Their great-grandmother had diabetes. Their grandmother had diabetes. Their father had, it goes all the way from way back. So sometimes even generational curses can be your health. Hey, Just Saying, how are you? It's just a lot of different things we get from our ancestors that are not good. There's some good things, but there's also a lot of bad things. And we got to figure out how to I don't know if I'm saying it right, but differentiate from what is good, what is bad, what is normal, what is abnormal. We have to decide which is better for us in our life. And hopefully we can pass that on, the good stuff, to our children. So I'm not going to make this live really long. I will put the link in the chat if someone decides that they want to come up, because I feel like I've talked enough. And hopefully, guys, I haven't bored you. But I felt like this needed to be said. Hereditary is affects mind, body. Oh, let me put this up here. In DNA, you identify it and counteractions should be taken. Correct. Okay, let me see. You write the word. I don't have my mouse. I left it at school, so I hope I can put this in here, but who knows? I might be having an issue. But just I hope you guys understand kind of what I was saying with that, and talk your stuff. You go, girl. The real is crazy. I don't know. Now I know CEO, I don't know if you know how to pin this in the chat, but it is in the chat, guys. So anybody that wants to come up, Nathaniel is 6 feet deep, so he wasn't sincere with the statement, Selena. Apparently. If you see, hopefully you see it in the chat. I did put it in there, and I'm going to pin it. So just in case somebody would love to come up and talk about what we're talking about, generational curses, and how it has, some things have affected you unknowingly, because a lot of things have affected us, and we don't even realize the things that have affected us. You know, please like, share, and subscribe. Oh, look at the word. Okay, buddy. Hey, the word.
Hey, what
Hey,
up?
QT.
Hey, my bad if you hear my baby girl. I'm trying to put her to sleep. Just wanted to hop up and chime in real quick.
Bless your heart.
I mean, what you're saying is facts because, like I put in the chat, a lot of things are hereditary, down to the diabetes, but also, like I have an overactive adrenaline gland. They call it the warrior gene. From my mother's side of the family, and growing up, I had anger issues. I was always like raging to the point where I do something and not be conscious of what I did.
Right. Hey, Miss Tammy.
No doctor could help me or nothing like that. That's why I got into martial arts. I started
Uh-huh.
studying like religion and spirituality, and that's where I found my peace at. But like even my father, he got 6 kids by 4 different women. Right?
Wow.
My brother got 4 kids by 3 different women. I got 2 kids by 1 woman. I'm the first son. So I broke that cycle. There's a lot of cycles I broke within my family, but that's what I mean. A lot of it is up to them, honestly.
Right.
You have to be able to identify things. I mean, once you get older, just my experience, like my stepdad abused the crap out of me. I mean, to the point where he closed my eye before, because I didn't do my homework. He threw me through a glass
What?
coffee table. Like he really abused me. Like, but I'm not an abusive person. I took my rage out on like bullying and stuff. Like people
Right.
bigger than me. But it was up to me. Nobody can fix you. You have to want that, and then people can assist you, but no
Right.
one can fix you. You have to want that for yourself. And a lot of people, some people understand that, but then some people use that as an excuse too.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, I'm like this because it happened to my childhood. And like, cause even that, like that's what my little brother doing now. He's doing fair time, and he's blaming all his faults now. He's like, you 28, bro.
Right.
And I had to have that talk to him. Like, yeah, you didn't have a normal childhood, but at the same time, you grown now and you're doing the same thing to your kids that was done to you. So like you said, that cycle,
Yeah.
cycle has to be broken at some point, but it's up to you.
It's up to you. Right. Thank you, the word. Now, one question before I go to the next person. Have you been able to forgive your stepfather for the abuse?
I've been forgetting. Forgiveness is not to take the burden off of what people did to you. Forgiveness is for you to get over.
Correct.
So yeah, I've been forgiven.
Wow, that's a powerful story. Thank you so much, the word, for sharing with us. The truth, what's going on? You hear the truth?
I'm here.
Okay.
Hey, it ain't that the story you just did. I ain't too long got through doing it on my channel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty sad, isn't it? How people can just be that cold, and to do his own child like that it's amazing. It's amazing that people can have that type of mindset to do something like that. Wow.
You're
So
right
do you
about
want,
that.
yeah.
I had several stories. I was growing up. I see my mom being abused, and I see my sister being abused,
Mm-hmm.
and I stood up to them, and I said, and you could people could go different ways with that, seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Either they can go up being an abuser, or they can go up being anti-abuser.
So
You see what I'm saying?
you were the anti. Basically, you decided that you were not going to be abuser.
Yeah. And then when I grew up with this female, when you talking about females, they could be the abuser too,
Mm-hmm.
verbally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I was in that type of relationship where she's like, "Oh, you don't make enough money to me. You just did that, whatever." I said, "Okay," but I would try to show her boys how to treat a woman. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
But I said, "Okay." Okay, since she want to feel that way, I left
Right.
and came back where I live at now. And guess who come calling, needed to borrow some money.
She did.
Get what I said? I told her, excuse my French. I told her, hell no. And guess what? I ain't looking at every female that I have been with, either been emotional or verbal abusive, and I left them and never spoke to them again.
Oh, okay, that's good. Is this something that you are doing to keep attracting those type of women?
No, it just some of it is not used to a man treat them like a woman should be treated.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And with me, and that's the type of the work where he go now. Realist one, the people that come to my channel, I speak about different topics, but domestic violence and mental health, emotional abuse, and all that stuff, I talk about it.
Right.
That helps me, and hopefully it help somebody else. And I tell everybody the same. I tell everybody the same story. It never changes because I've been through it. I've been through it, and it helps. It helps each one of them, and that's why I said. That's why when I put my hashtag in the, what through the hashtag, I said hashtag Let rebuild our community.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's rebuilding our community, not just help each other come up, help us each other with our mental health. Because it's like somebody meets somebody, they don't necessarily have to go that route. And sometimes when a woman or man get with somebody, just like you said, they so used to that right there, that's who they attract. Then the ones they attract, they so manipulative and use it.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody tell them, I don't know how you ever seen a show called For My Man, right?
Yeah, I seen it.
And you see how some of the men manipulate the females to do what they want to do because they so caught up. I don't say in love, they sort of lust
Right. They
with
really
the man. See, people got to get the difference of that other two. Love and lust is a thin line.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very thin line.
Turn my camera off after that shit, bro.
That's a very thin line. Because you might think it love. I'm talking about the men and women. You might think it love. Guess what? Because I don't care what your family say. I don't care what your friends say. You're gonna do what you want to do anyway.
Right.
And then about that story about that woman shooting that man and her husband in front of her kids. He was talking to his uncle. His uncle was telling him to leave, and he was going to work, and that's what he was trying to do. And I tell when I'm talking about this on my channel, I tell female women, please, if a man trying to leave, let him leave. Don't keep trying to egg him on.
Right.
Let him go. And this is another saying: if you love somebody and they hurt you, if you love them so much, love them enough to let them go.
Exactly. Exactly. But you have so many mental unstable people and evil people, they don't hear that. It's like either I'm gonna have you or nobody's gonna have you. That's their
You're
mindset.
right.
Selena, I apologize. Peace to D. Rod was good, man.
What's up?
Did you
What
see what
up?
I put in the back chat for you, Selena? I don't want to say it out loud.
Okay.
That's sort of big right there.
Let me see how to sometimes I'm kind of slow with this stuff.
This dude
It
has
got, if you're on stream, you gotta go to. It should say private chat
Yeah,
on
it's
the
in a
side over
private
there.
chat. Yes.
Who is
Whoa,
that?
don't say his name. Who
Oh,
is that? Oh my God! You hit his panel. You gonna be over 1K by the time you leave that shit. How about that? I
Yeah,
promise
that's
you.
for
okay.
sure. Yeah, you
Does
got a
he
pretty
know
big
me?
network.
My man Rod knows what he's talking about. I'm
Yeah,
not
he got a
playing.
big. Anton got a big network for sure. Yeah,
He said it.
He
but
said it. He
well,
said
yeah, but
it. You
they
ain't supposed to say
they ain't hear the last name. They ain't hear the last name, so they don't know what I'm talking about. You
Yeah,
know, but yeah, they ain't hear
I'm
the
not,
last name.
and
But
there's
yeah,
no
he got
disrespect
a
to
big
your live
network.
you doing right now, Selena, but I kind of want you to end it and maybe hit that panel, man.
Well,
Like,
does he know me?
you were nominated by somebody.
Oh goodness.
I
Oh
can send you
Lord.
the link to prove it.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it
This
to
is
you.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Hey Rich. Rod, let me let you speak before I get
Hey,
off.
let me get out of here, Rye and D. Peace, brothers.
Nah,
Peace.
yo, do your thing. Nah, I don't want to stop you from shining.
No.
Nah, I
I'm
can
gonna
always
send
come back,
her.
Selena,
I'm gonna
unless you
send
know.
her the info whenever y'all done. But yeah, Selena, good to see you as always.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
later. Peace, brothers.
Peace.
Okay. Rod, this is
What's good,
interesting.
Selena?
How you doing, my buddy? I'm glad to see you.
Hey, hey, you know, I was on another channel and I saw you were building. So I said, let me stop by and say hi to the queen, to the princess. I haven't seen you in a minute on these streets.
I
But yeah,
haven't either.
you came across my news feed. Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, let me tap in.
and make sure you contact me because I want to get that interview with you. So I need you
Okay.
to contact me. I think it's because I changed it. I changed my Instagram. I think it's Selena Delisha. So I want you to
Okay.
contact me
You
so
might have
that
to send that spelling in the back office.
okay. Let me just put it in here because honey, I don't, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
because my Instagram is Ra Black Storm. So it's literally the same.
Okay. There it is right there. So but that's where I need you to reach me at, and we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this live. I really
Okay,
don't know
I
what's
got you.
going on,
All right.
but I'm gonna end this live, and I will talk to you guys. I enjoyed everybody in this chat. Thank you guys so much for coming. Miss Tammy, Rich, Rob, my boy, The Truth, Larry, let's see, The Word, A Powers, just saying, Just Denise, The Realist, Arabia, Gartrell, No Limit, my boy, Yo is Mike. Y'all know who y'all are. Everybody. Neffy, thank you for stopping by. I hope everybody likes, share, and subscribe because I'm talking about a variety of different things. I'm not just talking about one or two things. I want to be worldwide. So I'm about helping and changing myself and other people around me. I hope other people want to change around me.
They gotta want to change.
Yeah, you gotta want to change. So I just want to be a light to people, and I want them to be a light as well in their area, wherever they are. So, guys, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. You just don't know how much it means to me. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you press the notification as well. So when I do have lives, you will know. I am going live maybe God willing Thursday and Friday. So just keep a lookout for my notifications. Okay, guys, be blessed. Thank you, Rob, my boy, and the truth. Some of my favorite people. And
You already know.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed. And like I said,
I
you
wish
have.
I wish I could tap into the topic, but I know you gotta, you got moves to make.
Well, yeah. That's why I'm gonna have you.
We'll
I'm
be
gonna
back.
have you on here. Like I said, probably within the next week. Hopefully, if you can come back.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be here.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Yeah.
I'm you on the gram. Y'all have a good night.
Everyone
Yeah,
have a
you too.
good night. Thank you so much.
You like, and Selena, and I want I'm trying to have ladies things, lady night, and I want you on the panel. I'm gonna be up there, but I'm not gonna be saying that. It's gonna be all ladies talking.
Okay, well, D Truth, you know my Instagram, so
Oh yeah, I already know. I'm gonna hit you up on it.
yeah, because a lot of things I be getting late, so just let me know and I will be there, God willing.
Yep. Hey,
Okay.
peace and love to everybody.
Peace and love. Good night, everybody, and thank you again for your love and kindness. All right, be blessed. I'll see y'all probably Thursday. Okay. Good night.